It's Not Another Buffalo Podcast, hosted by three of the most underqualified sports personalities this side of the canal. With John.
All you people out there who are like, these idiots don't know anything. First of all, you're right. And second of all,
Pat.
I'm just a dad talking in a closet, but I'm just saying.
And Brando.
We have this trust built on whatever it is, like Bibles and gold bricks and whatever Brandon Bean's drinking over there.
All right, welcome back to Not Another Buffalo Podcast. I'm John. I'm here with my buddy Pat, our resident dad in the closet, here on a Tuesday evening. Pat, how you doing, buddy?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Just hanging out. Got the day off tomorrow, federal holiday, respect.
Nice. So. I love it. I just want to let you guys know this episode is brought to you guys by Small City Realty. If you're looking to buy, sell, or manage property in Western New York and you're looking for a realtor you can trust, my guy is Korzelius. You can call him at 585-409-1088. That's 585-409-1088. Give Zach a ring. Tell him that the guys from NABP sent you, and he'll get you set up. He's a great guy. Definitely give him a ring. So, Pat, did you have a good Father's Day? Do future fathers qualify for Father's Day yet, or is this kind of like a pregame for next year's Father's Day?
I mean, I'm starting to realize I don't know, it doesn't make sense necessarily, but if anyone out here has ever watched Wizards of Waverly Place on Disney Channel, they always say everything is not as it seems. And it is Father's Day, and I did get a Father's Day card from my girlfriend's parents, and it was a lottery ticket. So it was cool. I won $15, but then I ended up being really tired and made my girlfriend drive me home from Cortland, New York, from her parents' house. And she was so tired, and she almost fell asleep behind the wheel. And I felt so bad that I used the money from the lottery ticket to get her coffee so that she wouldn't be upset on Father's Day. So, Father's Day is about keeping the mother of your child happy as well. So,
yes. So how far along is she, if you don't mind me asking? I'm trying to where's
7.5 months.
Due first week of
September.
Buffalo Bills.
It's due on the home opener, September 8th.
Right. That's right. So
yeah, and I can't drive. John knows I have a lazy eye, and I forgot to bring my well, she said, don't bring your glasses. And then I was like, babe, I'll drive. It's nighttime. But anyone who knows me knows that I shouldn't have been saying that. But what about you, man? Did you call John Sr. at all?
Yeah, both my siblings made it out to visit my dad. My brother surprised them too. So I actually missed out on it. I almost tried to book a flight last minute, but you know what those prices can kind of look like last minute. So unfortunately, I was out, and I had some obligations over the weekend. But we're all going to Ireland in a little bit here, so we'll definitely get some time to see John Sr. then. But he was having fun. He got a chainsaw and a couple other things to go with it. So he had his chainsaw pants on, and he was probably just cutting stuff up in the yard all day because he has fun with it. So we the app Cameo?
Yep.
Yeah. So Tristan had the idea that we were going to try to find somebody to do a cameo for him. And it got to about 24 hours before, and we're kind of searching, and I was like, oh, this is it. So we had Robbie from the Goo Goo Dolls. He's a bass player, do a cameo. And he's got such a funny voice and an awesome personality. He did such a great job and did it in under 24 hours. He's in his hotel room at 6 a.m. on Sunday doing it because he played a show last night and he was traveling home to see his family the day after. So that was pretty cool. Obviously, Goo Goo Dolls being from Buffalo, we're all big fans. The whole family is. So, and had to give him the Hey Sharon shout out to my mom as well, so she didn't feel left out. And so everyone was happy, and everybody loved it. So it was fun. It was a good weekend.
Oh, that's cool, man. That's cool.
So unfortunately, one dad who didn't have such a great weekend was Rory at the U.S. Open.
Isn't Rory's married to a girl from Rochester, I believe, as well?
Yes, that's right. Yeah. And they were about to get divorced, and then now he had his wedding ring back on, I guess, and they're not getting divorced. They called off the divorce. And
you can take the heartbreak out of Rochester, but you can't.
Can't take the Rochester out of heartbreak.
Yeah.
Heartbreak. It's funny. But yeah, anyway, interestingly enough, I had a couple of FanDuel free bets lying around. They have a deposit bonus, and so you can basically cash in some money, get the deposit bonus, cash out your money, and get a free couple of bonus bets or whatever. You have to play through it. So I put it on a money line, cashed it out immediately to, bypass that rule. But anyway, I had a $20 free bet. And so I had it on Rory for this. So beginning of the week, I had Rory plus 650, and I used the other $5 because I got $25 in free bets on Bryson. Was my second pick at plus 1,600. So I ended up winning, like 50 some odd bucks or something like that on Bryson. But I was like, I felt pretty like, I don't know, what's the word, fulfilled that I actually picked the two guys that were in it at the end. But so I obviously like both those guys. I love Bryson. If Bryson was going up against anybody else, I would have been pulling for him hard. But it's just like, Rory hasn't done it in 10 years. And it was so tough. He choked away. For those of you who didn't watch, he missed 2 putts within 3 feet on 16 and 18. And that's basically what lost him the entire tournament. And not to take anything away from Bryson, who had an amazing sand shot at the end to save it. One of the best up and downs, like to basically win a tournament since Matt Fitzpatrick did it in the PGA last year. But anyway, we're kind of thinking about this mentality of choking, right? And Rory's like so good that you can't even imagine that he'd choke, right? But I see Rory and I see the heartbreak and all these second place finishes, and it can't help like think about the Bills in that light as well. Always finishing this close, having the skill and the talent to get there. We look at these teams, especially 2021, even 2020, we're like, they had the horses to get there. 2021, they're going on this crazy stretch where in the wild card game, they beat the Patriots with the perfect game, 7 touchdown drives in a row. And then they're rolling in 13 seconds, especially at the end of the game. And then we all know how that turned out. And we thought that they had so much momentum that they weren't going to be stopped after that. But again, you have this tragic heartbreak. And so if we can chalk it up to one reason, the biggest reason, even if there are many, because we know that there's multiple, the biggest reason that the Bills haven't won it all yet, if we can try to dissolve it down to one thing, is it more X's and O's, or is there a psychological element here? Like athletes, coaches, they all choke in big moments sometimes. And has there been a choke factor with the Buffalo Bills? If we're being honest, is it roster shortcomings? Is it X and O shortcomings? Is it coaching shortcomings, or did they choke in big moments? So anyway, Pat, you said you had some stats to that, but let me just get your initial thoughts on that. Like, what's your gut reaction if you had to pick one thing? Psychology of the team, psychology of coaching, choking, players, roster construction, X's and O's, execution.
I mean, I certainly I certainly don't think it was a lack of talent. I mean, had we won it this year, I would have said we won it with the worst roster I've seen in the past 4 years. I certainly don't think it's a lack of talent. I mean, I feel like a lot of it's destiny, but like you said, I guess everyone's going to remember 2021, forever. And, everyone would either, would ever take a time machine and jump in, tap Scott Norwood's ball a little bit to the left or tackle Leslie Frazier before he made that defensive call. But I mean, I guess like when you see people break it down, I guess after the fact, it does seem that like, I guess schematically and, kicking the ball out of bounds too.
Right. So that's a scheme thing, right? Yeah. They were in the wrong scheme, but that scheme was on the field because of coaching decisions. Yeah. Right?
So, I mean, I guess in hindsight, it does seem like we did kind of hand them that in terms of being, unprepared and stuff. So I guess a combination of both, but I feel like Sean McDermott's definitely more decisive now than he was then. So.
Yeah, I think that too. And that's actually something I have written down here too, because I these last 4 seasons is what we're kind of going to look at. I think 2019 is a little bit different in terms of where they were at. Obviously, that was a 10-6 season. They lose to the Texans. And that season, I mean, you can kind of chalk up the end of that to, I don't know, maybe this is like a little bit of a coaching thing. They choke and they lose in overtime, and they're up 16-0 at half in that game. But mostly looking at these last 4 years, obviously 2020, just to recap, we have the AFC Championship loss against Kansas City. Main factors of that loss were over-conservative field goals when they should have probably been going for it deep in Kansas City's, and they could have been up by a lot more at half in that game. And then falling apart late. Like, you saw the wheels started to fall off. Josh Allen's chucking balls at, defensive tackles' heads and stuff like that. So they kind of unraveled there a little bit at the end when it was starting to get out of reach. 2021, 13 seconds. We all know what caused that. Poor coaching decisions in key moments. That's pretty much the whole story there. 2022 was that abysmal Bengals loss in the snow at home. Was it 24-10 or something like that? That whole game, they just didn't look prepared or present. ineffective offense is what I would tack that up to, which again, I don't know if that falls more on coaching or execution. They had that lax defense, but I feel like if you can't put up 24 points in a playoff game, then you probably deserve to lose anyway. 2023, again, this latest season, divisional loss at home to Kansas City. We all kind of tack that up to lack of explosive plays, and probably more importantly, linebacker injuries. Because don't you think if we have Terrell Bernard and Matt Milano in that game that we win it?
And AJ Klein gets to spend a vacation with his family too.
Right. AJ Klein probably would have had a better postseason too. Separating these last 4 years, obviously the offense hasn't looked as good as it did in 2020. And what are the reasons for that? And I think there's two main things that people kind of point to. One of them being Brian Daboll, obviously, because the first 2 years that we're looking here are Brian Daboll. The next two are a mix of Ken Dorsey and Joe Brady. Ken Dorsey for about a year and a half and Joe Brady for about the last half of the season. And then there's also the Cole Beasley factor, if you want to look at that, or Emmanuel Sanders also as well, if you want to look at that for the 2021 season. John Brown going back to 2020 if you wanted to do that. So having a stronger wide receiver core than I think that they've had in the last 2 years. So whether it's coordinator or that could be an X's and O's thing, because what do I want to say? Like the intersection of things just didn't go well, right? Because those first 2 years, the biggest shortcomings I think were definitely coaching. And I think McDermott has cleaned some of those things up. He usually makes the right fourth down decision now. He doesn't shy away from going for it anymore like he did in 2020. And that's basically what, if you're going to say something lost in that AFC championship game, I think you could say it was that. And the poor coaching decisions in key moments, I think that's gotten better. We obviously haven't gotten back to moments as clutch as 13 seconds to pull examples from, or as high pressure as that. But I think that he's cleaned that up. The difference is now the shortcomings have become less talented rosters or less explosive offense. It's like they don't have the offense to overcome their deficiencies these last 2 years. And obviously with this last year being the lack of explosive plays, the year before that, the offense just didn't show up against the Bengals. It's like they had the horses the first 2 years and the coaching is what limited them. These last 2 years, they haven't had the offensive horses. And so the coaching hasn't necessarily had a chance to get in the way, but that hasn't been the limiting factor there. So I don't have a good answer for whether it's fully psychological. Obviously, it's a huge combination of things. We're just trying to debate what the number one cause is. Can you tack the Bills' biggest failures up to psychological reasons? Has the moment been too big for McDermott? I think it was in those first 2 years. I don't think it has been too big for him these past 2 years. So hopefully we've solved that and we're moving towards an intersection of when the roster can get better, which might be, to be frank, 2 years from now, next year, but not this year, after they eat all that dead cap this year and then hopefully use it next year. I do think that McDermott's tendencies have been corrected since then. So I don't know if you would agree with that or disagree with it.
I mean, other than, people are going to roast him, until next year for the DeMar Hamlin fake punt, which
right. I
thought it was decision. Like a false start at first. I was like, oh, all right, false start. We're just going to punt it again. And then, so.
Oh no, that would have been a false start would have been a gift at that point. No, that's probably a good example of not making the right coaching decision. I don't know. I'm sure he was asked about it and people probably know whether that call had to come from him and not the special teams coach, right?
I what's his name? Matthew Smiley. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I feel like, and I'm someone who, I'm a nerd. I play Yu-Gi-Oh! Or like even if you play Rummy, I don't know. Like I've had people tell me, Pat, you play not to lose the game. And so, to make that transition from playing not to lose the game to, you know what I mean? Like to being a little bit more aggressive. I would rather have a more aggressive Sean McDermott than, the opposite. So
I really think it's something that's easier said than done. Like, I feel like anybody who's kind of played sports before kind of knows what this feels like because it's present in almost every kind of sport, right? Like anything from freaking playing pool at the bar to darts to football, tennis. I notice it in myself, especially in individual sport. I mean, even bowling, you can think about this. If you're just trying to be competitive with your friends, like I have a buddy that I went to college with who I used to play tennis with, and we used to just get pretty competitive about it, but we used to keep score and stuff like that. And I played tennis in high school. I wasn't very good or anything like that, but when I tell you I had the worst choke factor, I have an instance of one match in high school where I was up just about as much as you can be up, like points away from winning the match. And I started playing not to lose. I played don't mess up, So I know how hard it is to be, and like I don't have the clutch factor. Like if I'm playing a golf match against somebody and I need to make a putt, like that putt's going, I'm roaring the heck out of that, which is funny that that's now going to be a thing for a little bit here. But again, it's easier said than done. You can't just be like, don't choke, guys. So I don't know if that, it's the age old debate of, is clutchness something you're born with? But the thing that encourages me the most is that Josh doesn't have that in him. He doesn't have that.
Oh, he's a dog.
Maybe he hasn't always had it because 2019, I think Josh made enough critical mistakes in that moment, but he doesn't shy away from anything. So, we saw Super Josh in 2021 and we've seen him in moments since then be, a hero in the Detroit game a couple of years ago on Thanksgiving, where he throws that insane pass with a torn UCL to Diggs 40 yards up the field on a line. So that's what encourages me the most. It's really just like, I think the big question is, what does the Joe Brady offense look like? Can the Joe Brady offense generate explosive plays this year without a Stephon Diggs? And, will that be easier? Is Curtis Samuel going to give you that? Is James Cook going to take another step?
I mean, I would go out on a limb and say, if you can bet it, there's not really props right now, but I would bet the Buffalo Bills not to have a 1,000-yard receiver. If I were a betting man right now, I've been genital riding, the Kansas City Chiefs of last year, saying that they didn't have a 1,000-yard receiver or a 1,000-yard rusher, just so that, we have some perspective. 4 of the top 15 1,000-yard receivers. How do you word it? 4 of the players with the highest receiving yards total from the year 2024 don't have 1,000-yard receivings prior to that, but the other 11 do. And one of those 4 was a rookie.
Okay, so 4, just the top 15 in yardage totals.
Yes.
4 of them had never surpassed 1,000 yards before, so they were new 1,000-yard wide receivers, right?
And that's technically, it's really 2 because Michael Pittman was at like 950 the year before and had a 1,000-yard receiving season, and Puka Nacua was a rookie. Okay, can I guess the other 2? Yeah.
Is this trivia? Let's do some trivia here. See if I can think about it. So, let's see. I know Devonta Smith has had multiple 1,000-yard seasons. Are both these guys considered number 1 wide receivers, or would you put them as number 2?
One of them's sort of a number 1, and the other is the number 1 on a team that should not score any points.
Okay. Let's see. I'm going to say, Chris Godwin has had to have had a 1,000-yard receiving season before. Can you give me a division?
Both are AFC players. One is in the AFC South. One is in the AFC North. Both wide receivers, no tight ends.
Okay. AFC North, 1,000-yard wide receiver. Let's see. Ravens probably didn't have a 1,000-yard receiver outside of Mark Andrews.
And I'm talking top 15. So
top 15. Yeah. So these are some.
So we're talking players.
Did George Pickens?
Yep. So George Pickens is one.
Okay. And then AFC South is the other one. I'm going to say Calvin Ridley.
Nope. Close though.
Okay.
Same
close
division.
Is in right. Okay. Well, same division.
I know.
I was going to say close is in right team.
No. This player was the largest jump out of anyone in the top 15. Largest increase in yards.
Is it a Tennessee Titan?
Nope. This player had never had more than, I believe, 500 receiving yards in a season. And he ended up putting up 1,300 receiving yards last year.
Oh, I know who it is. Well, Tank Dell wasn't a rookie, right? Is it Tank Dell? Or is it?
So it's his teammate.
It's his teammate.
So Tank Dell is actually not. He's not even in the top 20 here.
Okay, yeah. He got injured last year too, so he was out for a second.
Yeah. So the player's a third-year player. He's got the first name of a Paisan like my son. Not the same name though. I don't want you to think his name is Luca because there's no one on this list named Luca.
Nico Collins.
Yeah. So
there we go. Sorry, I had to look at Texans wide receivers. I couldn't remember his freaking name for some reason. Nico Collins.
You're straight. Yeah. So I just think like you're talking about, Joe Brady's offense. What we have right now doesn't seem to indicate 1,000-yard receiver material or league leading receiving material, if for no other reason than we don't have any players that have done it before, let alone last year. So I did have some interesting, some stats here, try and hype you guys up a little bit, just for consideration. This player was the number 1 overall draft pick, I believe in 82, 84, maybe.
So we're going back.
But Irving Fryer didn't have his first 1,000-yard receiving season until age 29, and then had 4 from 31 to 35. Maybe we do have some late bloomers on the squad. It's a pretty young room. But,
I don't know if we're ever going to see that again in the NFL. Do you think that somebody wouldn't bloom till age 29 and then have what was he on? Like, did he switch teams, or was that purely?
He was on a bunch of different teams. Let me see here. He actually, his career basically ended because he got arrested in Buffalo too, which is kind of funny. But
fun fact.
Let me see. I fell down the rabbit hole of like longest gap between 1,000-yard receiving seasons, and then all I could find was that it's really just 10 seasons. Well, not even 10 seasons, I guess. 9 seasons. 9 seasons between entering the league and finally having it. But he played for the Pats. He played in a Super Bowl for the Patriots. Then he was really good for the Dolphins in the early to mid 90s.
So do you think that did he get that 1,000-yard wide receiver season in New England, or did he not get it until?
No, he didn't get it. He didn't get it until he played with Dan Marino.
Okay, well, I was gonna say, if you're making a case for a 1,000-yard wide receiver, maybe that's Curtis Samuel joining the likes of Josh Allen, if you want to make that comparison.
Yeah, he has 1,000-yard receiving seasons at 31 and 32. Playing with elite quarterback play.
Curtis Samuel is 27 years old.
He's 27? Okay. So still, he could have an Irving Fryer arc. For
Irving Fryer. That's a name that I can guarantee you no Buffalo sports podcaster has brought up in comparison of Curtis Samuel. But I love it. Did you hear Brando's prediction? Brando is like, when I say he's drinking the Kool-Aid, like he has spiked that stuff with, I don't know, whatever he's drinking these days, Land Sharks, whatever beer is easy on his stomach. He is drinking the Kool-Aid. He has Curtis Samuel down for 1,200 all-purpose yards this year.
Well, all-purpose.
I don't know if he's going to be returning. If he's going to be returning every single kickoff, like maybe. But I thought that was pretty crazy. I would be ecstatic if he broke 1,000 yards as a receiver. But again, it depends on how they use him. If they're doing the jet sweep thing, how many targets is he going to get a game? I feel like the consistency is not going to be. I feel like he's going to have 100-yard games this year, and he's going to have those games that we're going to be like, wow, he's going to be a factor. But I don't know if he's going to get, I think we worked out that he have to average 6 to 8 targets a game to realistically think about him in that kind of stratosphere. But hey, it was a good take and made for good shorts content. So, but what's your prediction for Curtis Samuel? You want to throw up a yardage prediction and put your hat in the ring? There's no prize, only embarrassment if we can pull the clip after the season.
I think honestly, I don't want to be hating. Maybe 700 yards.
700?
Yeah.
I would put him 700-800 receiving. Maybe he gets 200 rushing on top of that and breaks 1,000 all purpose, but that's kind of my lukewarm take. But I think Dalton Kincaid, if anyone has a chance of passing 1,000 yards this season, it's Dalton Kincaid. But he's got to stay healthy, and he's going to have to be really a focal point of the offense down the middle of the field, which he wasn't necessarily as much with Joe Brady as he was with Ken Dorsey. So it's just, I don't think anybody knows what the offense is going to look like, whether it's, because last year was Joe Brady supposedly running Ken Dorsey's offense. So are we going to see Joe Brady running Joe Brady's offense? I don't know. We got a long ways to go.
But that's a positive. That is a positive. Don't let, I feel like that is.
I think it's a positive. Yeah.
It is a positive, because if we don't know what's, coming, I feel like, well, there are people that are in analytics and probably do know exactly what's coming, but,
No, I don't even think that. Yeah. I mean, at least for the first 4 weeks of the season, which sucks when you get, the Patriots in 2 games late, 2 out of your last 3, is the way the schedule shook out. But there's no Bill anymore, so it's fine. We don't have to worry about them. But so do you want to finish this off with some quotes here?
Yeah, sure, man. Yeah, we don't have to worry about Gerard Ketchup. Let's see. You like that?
Yeah.
Which is funny. Gerard Mayo, amazing player, though.
It's time for Quotes with Pat. They're things that people said.
So, we were uneducated on the gambling policy in the NFL. We learned about it last night. Me and him had a conversation and canceled the bet. Obviously, we don't want to get in trouble with anything. So this is a player that bet against his former college teammate on which one of them would win Rookie of the Year. So give me either of the players. Both first-round draft picks.
Did either of them actually win Rookie of the Year?
They haven't played yet.
Oh, yeah. Duh. Sorry. This is this offseason. I feel like I should have seen this in the news, and this was a couple weeks old, you said, right? Because you had these a couple weeks ago. I'm trying to remember.
If you had to think about what quarterback...
Caleb Williams, like, would he be...
No. This quarterback had 2 wide receivers that he threw passes to last season, drafted in the first round. He's got Austin Eckler on his team now. I think he's going to be pretty good, honestly.
Did Austin Eckler get traded away from...
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, sorry. I'm catching up with each clue. I'm thinking through. Okay, so the 2 wide receivers that came from the same... That was Brian Thomas Jr. And so who was the quarterback for LSU last year?
He's playing for the Commanders.
Jaden Daniels?
Jaden Daniels, yeah. Him and
okay, cool.
Him and Malik Neighbors made the bet. And I think, honestly, they would have kept it had Malik Neighbors not watched Daniel Jones throw a football and then say, I'm probably going to lose money. But
That's hilarious. Can you tell how bad I am with name recall? That's like my biggest weakness is remembering names. So
no, you're good, man. I can't really remember too much of anything either. My baby mother says that I have a strict routine of when I come home where I put things so that I don't lose them. But okay, so I got 2 more for you.
Okay.
So this player is talking about their career arc. I feel like I'm going in a triangle, but hopefully I can be here for a little bit. He's on the downswing of it. Well, he might be on the level. He's either on the downswing of the triangle or the level parallel part of the triangle. He's not on the up of the triangle.
Okay, so like a triangle like up and down, but not like back to your original team?
Well, he might be back to somewhere he's familiar with.
Okay, and this is a player?
Yes.
Somebody who's back to somewhere he's familiar with.
That's had a really bad, well, I shouldn't say bad, but a pretty significant downtick in performance to where he lost his job. And
this
now,
isn't like Russell Wilson?
No, he plays behind the highest paid quarterback, arguably, in the NFL right now.
Arguably? There's an arguably highest paid quarterback?
I don't think he deserves the money that he makes.
Okay, well, is Trevor Lawrence, so plays behind him.
Yes.
Running back.
He's a quarterback. He's from Jacksonville, Florida. His family lives...
plays behind him as a backup quarterback.
Yeah,
I was thinking running back. I'm like, okay, Travis Etienne. Backup quarterback for the Jaguars. Who is that? Who's playing backup
He's
down
from
there?
Jacksonville. His family lives in Jacksonville. He was caught wearing a Blake Bortles jersey one time.
Is it Nick Foles?
Nope.
No. Oh, no.
He cried at press conferences and is out of shape.
No.
Bill Belichick was too hard on this man.
It's Macaroni Jones.
Yes,
there we go.
He's in a
I forgot what happened to McCorkle. I forgot he's not already out of the league.
I mean, that wouldn't be the worst thing. Say you blew it and then you're just like, oh, I got picked up by the Bills. Just gonna chill. Hilarious. Brando's gonna come over.
What is Josh Rosen up to these days? Random thought. Like, speaking of guys that were out of the league,
he was supposedly a tennis god, so maybe he's on the tennis court. But
I just didn't know. I mean, like, I didn't know if he's playing in like the UFL or something like that.
I feel like he's still on a roster though, man. He like has the intelligence to be a good like 3rd string quarterback that can at least break down film. Oh, I typed in Josh Rosen and it said, "Do you mean Josh Allen?" Yes.
Yes. That is, I like whatever version of the simulation we're in. That branch is good.
He is currently a free agent. But he played on a team last year. Well, actually practice squad in 2022. Oof, not correct. let's see. Oh, no, he was. He was on the Vikings in 2023 and then was cut.
All right. Well, what a story arc.
Yes.
All right, you got one more quote?
Yeah. Also, Sam Darnold to throw a pass in the postseason. I feel like that's a crazy bet that I might get behind. But and if Kyle Shanahan can't save you, you don't want to be saved.
That's oh my God, I gotta clip that one.
So this is from a Buffalo Bills player. Just recently put on a really cool event. He said, "For almost 22 years, I was quiet about my story. In the middle of a game, my story came out. An announcer had talked about it. I remember sitting there and everyone sending it to me. Everyone was asking, am I upset? Am I mad? I remember just talking with my dad and my sister being like, nah, I finally know my purpose."
This is Jordan Poyer.
So this is a new member of the Buffalo Bills. He is starting his own agency or nonprofit called Fostering Greatness. They collect suitcases and clothes for Buffalo children in the foster care system. While this player provides inspirational mentoring in regards to his story of going from foster care in San Francisco, California to the NFL.
I know who it is now. Sorry, I was thinking Jordan Poyer for the event thing. It's the 4th round running back, right? Yeah, it's
he's one letter away from being the lead singer of the Kinks, but
that doesn't help.
He's, Ray Davis.
Ray Davis. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh,
Ray Davis is the
Ray Davis. See how bad that is? Like, I was talking to Brandon about Ray Davis like last week on the show. I can't remember his name.
But
Short memory. That's why we can't do this live, because I'm just going to be sitting here trying to remember names. Like, that's half the episode.
Yes,
that's half the cut down.
But
yeah, that was a good quote.
That's what I have.
That's good. Those aged well for being a couple weeks old quotes. Like those were good. That's what we're trying to get mileage out of content here. It's the off season. If a June episode isn't still good by August, then like, what are we doing it for?
Yeah, we should. Next episode we should come out with outlandish takes
for this upcoming season, and then see how it turns out.
Just because that's the thing that we do every episode.
Just a football take. Yeah,
the most outlandish football take we have. Well, I guess that would be an in-season thing. Probably more so.
Give me an example. Do you have something that you're thinking of?
Like, let's say, like, I don't know, Jalen Daniels comes out first game of the season and throws 4 touchdowns and the, Commanders win. And I'm like, yo, Jalen Daniels is playing in the NFC Championship game this year. It's going to happen.
Yeah.
Don't argue with me. We could call it like, don't argue with me.
Oh, man. Yeah. I might have to argue with you on that one.
Or like.
Oh, no, I like it.
Or you could do like. You would have to like clip it. You've seen I Think You Should Leave, right? Where,
yeah,
like the haunted house sketch where he's like, I don't want to give anyone their worst day on the job. I don't want to be disrespectful. I want to give anyone their worst day on the job. I don't want to spew misinformation, but
here it is.
Yes.
I love it. All right, well, we'll be back next week. Hopefully, Brandon will be able to join us. He had a busy one this week, so we might have weeks off here in the off season. Stuff's getting kind of crazy. We got some trips coming up for all of us. Obviously, Pat's going to be a dad here soon, so
that's the ultimate trip.
Have those. He's going to have those responsibilities. Brando's busy with the school year finishing up, and he's got a busy summer schedule as well. So we're going to do the best we can to get episodes out every week, but we might miss here and there. So. Give us a little leniency. And if we're off for a week, we haven't gone anywhere, don't worry. Just check back the next week after that. But hopefully we'll get all 3 of us together. I know it's been only 2 of us for the last 3 weeks here, but we'll get the whole squad together hopefully next week and then do an episode. So you guys can find us on all platforms, TikTok, Instagram,
Indeed.
Not Facebook. Indeed. Looking for jobs. At Not Buff Podcast. Again, you can subscribe to our YouTube channel if you want to see us in video form week to week, or you can see us in video form on Spotify if you have both Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Apple Podcasts obviously doesn't allow video. But yeah, I've been working hard on some of the graphic stuff and trying to make it look good every week. So you can go ahead and check that out if you want to. But yeah, Pat, we'll see you next week. And until then, go Bills.
Go Bills.